Hey guys, happy Not So Scaryathon, day 1. I just wanted to pop in here and do a quick little tips and tricks video. Stay tuned, I will be posting a new video every day during Not So Scaryathon with different recommendations, Halloween things, just a whole bunch of fun, so you can come back here every day. Should be posted about the same time in the morning, and I thought that would be really fun to do. I'm also going to be vlogging during this whole readathon as well, so I'll have reading vlogs coming out after the readathon as well as a wrap up. So for today's video, we're just going to do some tips to start you off on the right foot for the readathon. I've talked about these before in other videos and on Instagram, but we're just going to go over them briefly here in case you missed those other tips. So tip number 1, I know a lot of you have already planned your TBRs, but don't be afraid of adjusting them. So I always plan like 3 or 4 books that I really want to read. I read a lot though, so kind of base this off of whatever you're able to do, but I always plan a couple that I really want to read, and then I check out on Overdrive and Hoopla and Libby. A lot of audiobooks, just a ton for any kind of thing that will fit the categories or the whole readathon as a whole, so that if my mood changes or I want to DNF something, I have a bunch of things like already lined up that I can go through, as well as physical books. I usually only read 1 to 2 physical books during the readathon, and the rest are audiobooks, but just be a little bit loose with your TBR. If your goal is to read a lot of books, don't be scared to kind of change it up, but also don't fall into the trap of dissatisfaction, because sometimes if I'm a little too loose, I will be like, I don't know if I'm feeling this, and start something else, and then I wind up starting like 7 books during a 14-day readathon, and I don't really finish any of them. Definitely kind of find that balance between pushing yourself a little bit, but also leaving a little bit of wiggle room to kind of change things up. Tip number 2 is to do audiobooks. I highly encourage you, if you've never done audiobooks before, to try them out. It really bothers me when people say they don't like audiobooks, because to me there's so many different ways to do audiobooks. The narrator makes a huge difference, the story makes a huge difference, the speed in which you listen makes a huge difference. I'm going to be doing lots of audiobook themed videos in 2023, so I've got some things planned that will help you with the following readathons as well. If your narrator is not very good, or if you're listening at the base speed, you can really struggle and it's really boring and kind of dull. The base speed for most audiobooks is much slower than our natural talking speed. Like how I'm talking right now would probably be more like a 1.5, 1.7 speed on audiobook. So definitely try speeding it up. Sometimes at first it'll seem a little fast, but your brain totally adjusts. I used to only listen at like 1.2 speed, and now I'm up to 2 speed on most audiobooks. Sometimes the narrators are a little bit quicker, so I'll like reduce it down. And I have no problem with it. I still enjoy it. When you first try to do that, it'll sound like chipmunks, so I kind of just eased my way into it, and I don't know what it is, but your brain totally adjusts. And audiobooks are just such a great way to do the readathon, because you can do them while you're driving, while you're cooking, while you're cleaning, while you're doing housework, any kind of little task, going on walks, and they're just so fun. I love going on like a spooky like evening walk kind of right before sunset and listening to like a slightly eerie audiobook. It just gives you all of the vibes. It's so good. So that's just another big tip as well. Tip number 3 is to schedule a time to read. So again, you can do the readathon any way you want to do it, but if your goal is to kind of read a lot of books or just be consistent, the most important thing is to do something every day. So I have a goal that I usually read at least 30 minutes to an hour before bed, and I try to do 30 minutes in the morning as well. So if you have to get up a little bit earlier to do that, I like actually reading in the morning probably the best, as long as I get up a little bit earlier and I have the time. And then at nighttime, physically reading is so good for your brain as well, because it kind of helps shut you down and gets you into a good sleep mode. It gets you off the screens, hopefully, unless you're doing an ebook. And you'd be surprised how much reading you can get done in just 30 minutes a day, especially good for readathons when we're kind of trying to push ourselves as well. Tip number 4 is not necessarily reading related, but it is to make sure that you are following me on Instagram at The Bright Side Girl and checking out the hashtag Not So Scaryathon. You can type this hashtag in the search bar and you can click it, and you can actually hit follow on the hashtag, and it will show you everybody's posts that are being shared. I have Instagram challenges for the readathon as well. You don't have to do these. They do count towards a giveaway giveaway though, and I will be sharing everybody's challenges that are participating, and it's just a really fun way to see what people are reading, to make some new bookish friends, to get some ideas for the rest of the fall season, and we'll be doing like non-bookish things too, like I'll be sharing little bits of my decor and all that stuff. So make sure you're following me and checking out that hashtag as well. Tip number 5, which we've kind of already briefly covered, is to use your local library. So I get a lot of books that I don't physically own from the library. I also do almost all my audiobooks from the library, from either Overdrive, Libby, or Hoopla. You can also check out Scribd, which is not the library, but it's a cheaper way to find audiobooks. And that way, if you're consuming like a lot of content, you have options and things to get through without having to buy a ton of things, which is not always my favorite. I do buy a lot of books, but I get them really cheaply, so I don't like spending a ton of money on like one book if I don't have to. So be sure and use your local library as a resource. I feel like I was shocked how many people just still read a lot but don't have a library card. Like, definitely check that out. And then the last tip is to have fun and be kind to yourself. Push yourself as much as you want for fun, but don't overly compare yourself to other people. Everybody has a different lifestyle, everybody has a different goal, a different reading pace, a different week. Like, I have a couple things planned this week that I won't normally have planned, so I'm slightly busier than normal. I plan on reading at least like 7 books, but for some people that might seem insane, or they don't do audiobooks. I work from home, so I'm able to do audiobooks all the time while I'm like working and cleaning and cooking and doing all kinds of things. If that's not your lifestyle, work a 9-to-5 job outside of the house, if you have kids, all that stuff, you kind of have to just base it on what works for you, and don't compare yourself to others, because there's no point, because we're all doing different things and we all have different goals. So basically just have fun and push yourself a little bit, but also just enjoy the readathon, enjoy the spooky season. I kind of use these readathons to also do like themed activities for whatever the readathon is. So I've got a couple like fall themed activities that I will be doing for the readathon that you guys will see as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you're participating down below in the comments. Let me know if you're on Instagram, if you're vlogging, if you're just reading, any of that stuff. Feel free to comment anytime and we can chat and talk about what we're reading and all that kind of jazz. Be sure and check out my Halloween playlist that I'll link up in the cards for more inspiration. Stay tuned for daily videos. I'm so excited for you guys to see what I have planned, and I will see you tomorrow on the bright side.